So, how's your week going? It's hot. It's Texas.
Yeah.
Gotta bring out the teas, you know.
You know, we just had what'd you work out today, by the way?
Well, today is my rest day.
Oh.
So technically it's an accessory day. So I'll do lower back, I'll do hip abductors, I'll hit abs, and then depending on what else, I'll do my neck exercises. Work out your neck. That way if you get in a car accident, you don't die. Also, people can't knock you out. Also,
that is true.
What muscular group did you hit today?
I hit chest today. So, after a brutal leg day yesterday, focused more so on the upper body.
It's glory day.
Yeah. So, got that work in today. So if you haven't gone to the gym, and if you're thinking about going to the gym, if you're indecisive about going to the gym, go to the gym. Or you're a fucktard. No, I can't say that. I can't. Or you fucking suck. No, I can't say that either.
You already know.
Yeah.
You know. We don't
go to the gym, bro. Anyway.
You can have your own.
Or bro, or what's the?
I don't know. I just call everybody bro.
Yeah, bro or female bro.
Sister.
But
that's just not a thing.
Yeah. I was thinking how they have dude and dudette. That's what I was going to.
Yeah, it's like tomato, tomato, potato.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Listen, you get it.
Yeah.
We just say what's up, y'all. We're from Texas. What are y'all doing? We haven't said that.
Yeah, we have.
Technically, our saying, our call to action.
We're fucking up, man.
That's all right because we're taking action. Imperfect action trumps inaction. Indecision is the bane of decision.
And if you haven't heard our takes on that, refer to the last episode, which is episode 8. Watch that, like, comment, subscribe.
If you want to.
Well, yeah, if you want to. If you don't want to,
please dislike.
My motto. My motto is,
you did.
Fuck you. But, do whatever you want. I appreciate the thumbs down and the negative comments and whatnot. Because if you took the time to comment on our post, that means we're doing something right. So thanks.
That means we pissed you off to a degree that we actually made your pea brain think.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for those of you who actually listen, I know that you don't have a pea brain. And I know you are a highly intellectual and well put together individual who's a good functioning member of society.
And in other words, this is a long way of saying, welcome to the AM Club Podcast. We're back once again. We're coming to you live from the
Houston and Vegas
undisclosed location again, which we're not going to say where or what it is because that's none of your biz.
Hey,
we're part of the thing, man. Hey, look.
Don't discount the connection.
Oh, fuck. See,
flashbacks.
He's got to do that Jose thing, man. But anyway, you want to intro what we're talking about today?
Episode 9. Today is this is a fun conversation topic that we probably talk about this every single time that we're on the podcast. We refer to it indirectly. Episode 9, the AM Club Podcast, we are talking about the lone wolf. Austin, what is a lone wolf?
Okay, so a lone wolf is actually what people would describe as, wrongly, I might add, as a person who likes to go about things alone, likes to handle things alone, and takes pride in doing things alone. However, we're coming to you with a different take on that.
Or the pragmatic take, per se.
Right. So, what is your take on the lone wolf? People might assume that we might like that because it sounds like, I'm a lone wolf, tough guy, muscular, I do everything alone, I don't need anybody, blah, 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 I do all these things by myself, I make all this shit by myself,
But in reality, a lone wolf is a wolf that is unfit to be in the pack and has been left alone and abandoned, kicked out, and sometimes killed or left injured or half alive to survive on its own, which is essentially impossible for the wolf-like species. which means you were deemed
Unfit.
unfit. I was going to say something a lot more crest, but we'll corral it. I was going to say, see, I already forgot. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Essentially incompetent, and in Austin words, you are a nincompoop.
Right. It's a nice way of saying you're an idiot.
Now, there's merit in being isolated and having distance and being sort of an introvert, because introverted tendencies have like you. Austin is relatively an introvert. He's very thorough in his thinking. He contemplates a lot deeper than I do on decisions, which is why oftentimes I'm consulting Austin before making a decision, because I am hasty, and as you know, haste makes waste, and Austin is the reason why we are not wasted as a business right now. We'll put it that way. So, yeah, distance is not a bad thing, but I think Austin has a good perspective on why being a quote-unquote lone wolf and isolating yourself either purposely or unintentionally has really bad consequences.
So, I don't know if I'm saying this quote correctly. We always try to quote people who always fuck it up.
But listen, at least you know that to a degree we understand the quote. We don't know the source half the time, but that means it was impactful.
So, agreed. So if you want to go quickly, go by yourself. If you want to go far, however, go together. So, there's a lot of things that you might just be the hardest worker on fucking planet Earth. You might be able, by some miracle, be able to outwork this guy. I doubt it, but you might be able to do it.
Challenge accepted. Come at me, bro.
You might be able to do that. There's only so much that you're going to be able to do that's humanly possible before you can't do any more by yourself. You're going to reach a limit. You're going to plateau. You might be able to make, $1 million right now. You might be in your 20s and you're making $1 million and you're doing everything by yourself and you're just killing it per se. However, you could easily transform that million to 10 or even higher than that if you had a group of like-minded people around you, or a team of like-minded people around you, or people that even people that are smarter than you around you to help you elevate your thinking, and that can take your business to making X a month or X a year to making Y, making Z, making I squared.
-1, baby. Hey, listen, shout out to Bedros, all right? Here we go. Revenue feeds the ego, but profit feeds the family.
Ooh.
So you got to get those numbers up. Negative I does not work, or I squared. Apologies. I squared is -1.
We might be fucking it up still, but who gives a fuck?
Listen,
it's an imaginary number. That's literally what I stand for. It's imaginary.
We're trying, and that at least there's no participation awards. But like we said last time, you have to win the game by persistance.
Right.
And we are persisting.
Persistence is key. However, you have to realize that persistence by yourself can only get you so far. Once again, but persistence together, can get you further. Because if you don't know this, the word further relates to degree and like aptitude, and farther relates to distance. So if you don't know how to use those two words correctly, there you go. So vocabulary lesson.
I didn't even know that.
Hey, look, you learn stuff every day.
That's the benefit of being a relative introvert.
You learn shit.
Yeah.
But so I think that's another reason. Not only because this is a friend and brother of mine that I've known for a decade plus, but just having that person to fact check you and bounce ideas off of takes you so much further in whatever it is that you want to do. So if you want to have a business, or if you just want to have a successful podcast, you want to be a successful music artist, even, of course, you're the only person putting out that music, but if you don't have a group of people around you who can give you honest and candid feedback about whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're not going to be able to get, as far as you want to get, because you're only think through things in your kind of one mind, one train of thought, just simple way. I wouldn't say simple, but just one way of thinking. And everybody around us thinks differently in certain ways. So if you have a, culmination of just great ideas that one might just be off the wall, one might be over here, one might be over there, you can put those together and make up a great idea or a great product. But if you have one person thinking this whole thing by themselves, you can only go so far. You only have so much brain power that you're able to contribute throughout a day before you just fucking burn out. However, if you have multiple people, it's a difference.
Now, don't get me wrong, you can be surrounded by dumbasses.
I'm not saying
don't just surround yourself with idiots.
Yeah, don't have a pack of wolves that are. I almost said a bad word.
Let's say a pack of foxes when you're a wolf,
right?
Or when you're trying to be an eagle flying with the turkeys. It's like turkeys don't even fly;
Exactly.
they practically just glide. It's like Buzz Lightyear. I'm falling with style.
That's actually a superior reference.
But, man, see, all these little things that pop in my head when you start talking,
Right.
and it's like some of them go and some of them don't. But there's two analogies that I really quickly want to make. And you brought a good point. Speed, you can go fast or you can go long. And the comparison that I like to pose is, listen, that was absolutely an unintentional innuendo, okay? But I digress. You're such a child. You're such a child.
It was alright.
But it's my fault.
Yeah.
I didn't think deeply enough before I spoke. Courtesy to a negative comment that we received, which perhaps I'll read to you, maybe. But I really enjoyed that. It was a breath of fresh air. I gave the gentleman a good response that I think was thorough enough to communicate our intentions, and also I thanked him politely for his feedback. That being said, I'm trying to, put my thoughts quicker into words as opposed to dilly-dallying. But anyways, the analogy that I'd like to pose, one of two, is a sports car or a supercar versus an 18-wheeler. Now, supercars are awesome. One day, coming soon. 2028 is the projected date, right? Year? Yeah. We're 2023, 5 years.
Oh, yeah, no, that was 4 years.
Oh, okay. 2027, correction. But anyways, you can go extremely fast, but supercars are notorious for running out of gas, and you will see them on the side of the highways, particularly in Europe, because that's what happens. It happens. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just a matter of the fact. An 18-wheeler running on a diesel engine can go for astronomically longer trips with holding much more weight. And that's the analogy that I would pose. You moving alone is like you moving like a supercar. You look sexy as fuck, and you're moving fast as hell. But your shit's
And
gonna
the girls
run.
are like, oh my god,
Put that shit in third, baby.
hear the engine pop and whatnot.
Oh,
but then after it pops, then you realize that it's not the engine popping because that's the exhaust. You realize that it's running out of gas and you're popping fumes and burning fuels, and then you end up on the side of the road and they end up laughing at you. So do you want that, or what's the other?
The 18-wheeler. So think about it this way, right? Moving in a group is like an 18-wheeler. You might not be moving as fast, but I don't know how many of y'all know this, but 18-wheelers are actually relatively fuel efficient when you compare them to a regular combustion engine. Look that up if you don't know. But basically, you're moving heavy cargo for an extended period of time, and you're just making continual progress. In life, like we said, I believe it's episode 6, Festina Lente, it's all about making haste slowly. Incremental progress. Like Austin said, the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise will always beat the hare. And there's a reason for that. Because he doesn't run out of gas. He's just putting brick after brick, step by step. He's chiseling away the sculpture like Michelangelo, one hammer tap at a time. Which I don't think you understand how artistic that is. That is so difficult. And let me get a little personal here. If you think that you can do it all alone, then you're absolutely right. You can absolutely do all the failures that you set out to do alone. And you will. Because beyond that, you will not succeed in the long term. And if you do, I will personally give you $1 million, because then my assertion was incorrect. But I guarantee you, if you don't have a single employee under you, you are not going to do that if you don't have a single collaborator.
You know what you just reminded me of?
Minecraft.
You know how
We never.
not this time. Yeah, I definitely picked Minecraft. But most people when they're younger, when they're like in their teenagers, whatever, you know, they kind of have that rebellious phase. You think you know everything, and at that point, you might think that you might be able to travel through shit alone. You don't need other people's feedback. You don't need your parents telling you this or that or whatever. You might think that, but as you get older, you realize, and as the lone wolf goes out and it starts to get colder, it starts to be winter, and he realizes that when he has to hunt, there's no longer one wolf coming from this side, one wolf coming from that side, two coming from that side, two coming from that side, closing on the prey. It's just him, and he has to figure it out by himself. Then you realize, okay, this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So there's a certain point where you can either become that lone wolf, or you can realize that shit. You can realize before that right now, me going about things by myself, though, you know, it takes a little level of just courage to trust other people and trust other people's like thoughts and, you know, wisdom. You have to realize, okay, look, I don't have all the answers. I can't go about this shit alone for a long period of time. It's going to be a lot of work. So you're going to have to say, okay, look, I'd rather go about things with other people first before trying to do this shit alone. And I promise you, it's going to take you further in life. And if you realize this shit quick enough, you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches. And of course, working with people isn't easy all the time. Like, trying to get things done as a team, as a group, isn't easy all the time. But
well, you have conflicting opinions too, which, like, I mean, we've talked about it. We're both very type A. We always butt heads.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we have years being together, so it's not like we have.
Friendship.
Hey,
listen, no.
No.
Listen,
Decade and then some change. So in other words, we know how to maneuver around each other's emotions and schedules and da. But it's still difficult.
Right. So you have to. My dog is just being an idiot. But anyway, you have to realize, like, you know, you can save yourself a lot of pain and grief if you move together with somebody or with a group of people as opposed to trying to do things yourself. And this shit happens a lot faster when you're with other people.
Yeah.
Like when you're trying to do things together, you're able to go through things like shit, like a fucking agile, you know, framework, you know, sprints. You do things faster together, you iterate and eventually get to your goal a lot faster as opposed to if you're doing this shit all by yourself. And I think, you know, people kind of adopt that, you know, I'm gonna just do it by myself because, you know, say for instance, there's times in school where you'd have group projects and you would be surrounded by a bunch of people who don't give a fuck. Then going about doing it yourself would probably be beneficial. However, if you surround yourself by like-minded people or people who are smarter than you or more hardworking than you, you know, I think he's smarter and more hardworking than me. And
definitely smarter.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
I work harder.
You see what I'm saying? Like, just having that level of like
brains in the bronze.
Like,
I'm cool with that.
And the juxtaposition of like what you're able to bring to whatever group or whatever that you're in.
Variety.
Yeah, it helps move things along, and it also kind of gives, you know, whatever you're trying to do in your business or in life, it gives things a different take as opposed to what it would have if you were just trying to go about things alone. Yeah. So honestly, like just going through life and realizing that other people's opinions can help and other people's wisdom that, you know, they might have learned 2 years ago before I did can help me. It's really opened my eyes to realize, okay, you know, as an introvert, I don't have to go through things alone. I can go through things with other people, and it helps me mentally, it helps me physically, it helps me, you know, business-wise. It just helps all, you know, in general. So I think that's something I've learned through life, and that's why I definitely am really passionate about this particular topic because, you know, you don't have to go through things alone. And honestly, it's less efficient that way.
Well, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Like I said, realistically, you can't be running a company or any business that's going to bring in $1 million and do it entirely on your own on a consistent basis. You're going to have to outsource one thing or another, and at that point in time, you are no longer working alone, technically. And even then, if you're negotiating with clients, you're not working alone because your client is working with you. Ergo, in order for money to even come in and out of your pocket, you're working in collaboration in some way, shape, or form, which means you're not entirely isolated nor alone. But we won't get into that because that could, for the few who like to leave very interesting comments, and your pea brains cannot interpret them. And that's okay.
He does not like you.
That's okay. No, it's not that I don't like you. I'm just reciprocating the message that you yourself have passed and you identify as a pea brain individual. Therefore, I will hold you to it. 2 quick points. One, which is the second analogy I wanted to make. Let's give it a little biology lesson, a little evolutionary theory here.
Science nerd.
Yeah. Biologist by trade, among many other sciences. But we won't go down that route. We don't want to toot too many horns today. So, Austin, can a species survive without diversity?
Probably not.
No. So the reason why a lot of species that are poached die is because they lose genetic diversity. Think about the rhinos. Rhinos we cannot boost the population of rhinos from a small number, say 5 rhinos. It's impossible unless there is actual genetic variety, because it's the same thing with purebred animals. If you notice, purebred dachshunds or purebred German shepherds or whatever it is, a purebred has allergies. They have a tendency to have joint and ligament issues that are lingering in them, in their own, we'll say, bloodline.
And mental issues.
Same thing with inbreeding in humans.
Right.
It's been proven to lead to disorders and diseases because of the lack of genetic diversity. So it's the same thing in practical reality. If you don't have diversity in quite literally the genetics that you surround yourself with, meaning the other people, then you will die as a species. And that's essentially, yes, there's going to be conflict, and that's proven throughout time, but if there's not variety, then there's no forward progress. And that's like one of the most important things, especially in larger companies, is that they have variety in teams, because you need all kinds of ideas and informations and ingenuity and things of that sort. You need organic stuff to come out, because I'm not going to know everything about a topic, and I know that. Neither is Austin, and I'm not going to be able to handle all the work, even though I would love to. And Austin is the same. So it's like, okay. And then with people that we collaborate and corroborate with, we learn things in a simple conversation that we never would have thought. And that's just the value of communicating. So essentially, as a species, you cannot survive unless there is diversity. Shout out to New York, diversity. Shout out to Houston, diversity. Shout out to Austin, Texas, diversity. So,
all very thriving cities.
I'm trying to recall the second thing. Yeah, fuck is the right word. I was gonna say, just because you're working with people doesn't mean that you just listen to people mindlessly. You need to filter through information. So you're taking in data and you're processing the data. You're analyzing the variables and the parameters, and then you use what data you can use, the rest you just lose it. And that's fine. So if Austin and I are talking and I'm just spouting nonsense and the dumbest ideas possible, Austin's not going to listen to me. He'll listen to me out of, common courtesy, but he's not what he might call me a dumbass. But, yeah, he's going to slap me with that button. So, but he might call me a dumbass, whatever, but the point is he's going to filter through the bullshit that I'm saying, and he's not going to implement that into whatever we're doing. And vice versa. Perhaps I come across with a good idea, and he picks that up, extrapolates, and then we make something new or something better. Improvements here and there, small things count.
Right.
But so don't be a drone, don't be an idiot. Be open and receptive, and this is a good one. Who says this one? A lot of people say, I'm pretty sure it's Jordan Peterson. No, it's one of the rules, 12 rules of life. It's probably number 8, number 9. And it's
like the episode.
that's nice. That's nice. It's assume the person you're talking to knows something that you don't. You always need to be receptive. And it was, I believe it was Epictetus also said this one. He said, he who believes he knows it all is correct. And essentially, it's an ironic saying to say that, yeah, if you think you know it all, then you definitely do, because there's nothing I can teach you.
Right.
There's nothing you can learn, because you've already capped your ability.
Right. And if you can go into things thinking, I personally think that I can learn anything from anybody. Like, you know, if you meet a homeless person on the street, I think I can learn something from them. You know, most people might look at them and say, clearly, you know, they must not, you know, be doing the right thing because blah, blah, blah. You don't know what they went through to get there. You know, they could have been a millionaire 5 years ago and then something happened. So they might have a large amount of information that they could tell you. So you don't want to be closed-minded when you meet with people or just because they look a certain way or whatnot, you know. You have to be able to you have to be able to learn from whoever that you meet in general. And whether it's just a minute little piece of information that could benefit you or that you didn't know before, you have to be able to realize that, see that, take that in, and use that, because there's always something that somebody can provide to you that could be of service for later, in my opinion. So.
And with that being said,
That was my dog, not my stomach.
running out of time. So, yeah, podcast
Is out.